there, everyone. I am Renee again on a Tuesday with Digga Tuesdays on the Connectia Society page. I am a registered dietitian and I'm super excited to share with you our topic today. So we're talking about your immune system, so your immunity and nutrition. So I'm going to share my screen here and we can go into our slides. And then we'll also go into my kitchen afterwards to cook up something really yummy for lunch. So I want to introduce myself again. I'm Renee, and I'm a registered dietitian in Vancouver, BC, and I have a company called True Nosh. It is a local company, and we all are super excited to share with you our food products and our beverage products. They're all made without sugar, all gluten-free, without any preservatives. So check us out. If you have any questions after the presentation, you can always email me, info@truenosh.com. So why are we talking about immunity and nutrition? Well, we are all in this together. It is a period of time that we need to be more mindful of our immune system because we are currently going into the winter season. It is, very much so a influenza season, a cold season, as well as COVID-19 is amongst us. So our immune system is very important and we need to talk about it. And on a daily basis, because we are also exposed to so many different things like other microbes, like bacteria on surfaces that we're touching or in the air even, like pollution. Those also affect our immune system. And we talked about that in our anti-inflammatory food session. So I encourage you to look at that session in a previous video on Connectia Society's YouTube channel or their Facebook page and review some of the sessions that we had previously. Our immune system is a network. So just like a lot of other systems in our body, the circulatory system, and the nervous system, it is also a network of pathways in our body that protects you against harmful microbes and other diseases that invade the body that we have to fight off, okay? Humans are very, very adaptable, and we actually have two different types of immunity. One is innate and one is adapted. So I want to talk about the innate immunity, and that's really our first line of defense when we are walking out into the street and we have a gust of wind that blows and there's a lot of dust, and that's the kind of first line defense that our body uses to protect us, and they're the barriers. So like the skin is a protective barrier, mucuses in our nose and in our mouths and throat, they actually stick to the particles and we either sneeze it out or cough it out. Our stomach acid, when we eat something that is not good or we know that is excuse me, there's some pathogens in there. The acidity in our stomach can kill a lot of these things before it enters our body. And enzymes in our sweat and our tears also have some antibacterial compounds. And these all help attack all foreign cells that enter the body. The second form of immunity is an adaptive one. So this is where vaccines come into play because our own cells, in our body, like the spleen, the thymus, and the bone marrow and the lymph nodes, those are all part of the immune system. And these are organs that help with when foreign substances enter the body, they create these things called antibodies, which is a type of protein and that can help your immune cells know the specific harmful substance that is coming to attack it, and then it can engulf it or it can actually attract these pathogens, and then these immune cells, like white blood cells, come and attack, engulf it, and destroy it. And we have an adaptive body, so we remember these substances when we have been, in the presence of it, or they've been in our body, and we know that we can recognize these certain strains of bacteria or viruses. Therefore, your body produces antibodies that help you defend something similar much more quickly and more efficiently. Okay, so some of the risks that you need to know when you understand your immune system, because there are people that have risk factors that causes depressing our immune system. So age is a factor. So your organs and your body, especially your immune organs, get less efficient as you age. So it also, as you age, you get more susceptible to infections because you're also susceptible to nutrient deficiencies that can also increase your risk of contracting certain diseases and viruses. Also, the environmental toxins, as I said, smoke or dust or even like excessive alcohol can impair the immune cells. Weight. So there is a low chronic inflammation for people who are obese, and the fat tissues actually produce edible cytokines. So this is an inflammatory process. So obesity has actually been identified as an independent risk factor for increasing your risk in the flu, and possibly because your immune system has lowered and the T cells, which is a type of white blood cells, has been impaired. Poor diet. Malnutrition means that you are lacking in certain nutrients, and you need nutrients to help your immune system, your cells. You're feeding your own body with a balanced diet. And if you don't have enough of that, you lower your immune system. Chronic diseases. So some people have autoimmune diseases like lupus, diabetes, and maybe celiac disease, and they can also disable your immune cells as well. And if you are under constant stress, so I'm talking about stress for a long period of time, your hormones, such as cortisol, actually suppresses inflammation. And they release hormones. So yeah, exactly. So the action of white blood cells might not be as efficient. And then sleep. If you don't have enough sleep or rest and you don't have time to restore your body, you can also increase your chances of infection. So why does your immune system need nutrients? So does a immune boosting diet exist? Well, you have to know that you need to take care of your body with a balanced diet, right? So, and eating enough nutrients is a part of a varied diet. So you need a variety of nutrients to increase your immune system or to just protect it and help it function properly. And some diet patterns, can better prepare your body to other microbial attacks and decrease inflammation. So we're going to talk about some of that later. And also, your immune response sometimes relies on a presence of certain micronutrients also. So micronutrients are your vitamins and minerals, and your macronutrients are your protein, your fat, your carbs. So nutrients that have been identified, so the micronutrients for your growth and your function of immune cells, include vitamin C, D, zinc, selenium, iron, and also protein that form enzymes found in a lot of different types of foods, not just plant food, but also animal foods also. A balanced diet, we talked about this in our previous session, so you need some quality protein. So depend on your activity levels, and if you're a bodybuilder versus someone who has a desk job, your amount of protein that you need varies, right? But usually, on a rule of thumb, you need 0.8 grams per a kilogram of your body weight, okay? So you take your weight in pounds divided by 2.2 and you times it by 0.8, and now you know how many grams of protein you need in a day. And you need to know that because you need to know how to read labels too. So I encourage you to go back and review one of our slides, or sessions actually, and I talked about how to read nutritional labels and ingredients in a package. And those can really tell you exactly how much protein that you're eating. You can also go on the internet and find exactly how much protein is in like an egg, which is usually about 6 grams of protein, depends on the size of the egg. And like a piece of chicken breast usually has quite a lot. It depends on the size as well. So something that's like in the size of your palm can have up to like 15 to 20 grams of protein. So you might be surprised that the food you eat actually has enough protein in them and you don't need a supplement. Healthy fats. So we talked about some omega-3 fatty acids. We have a whole session on healthy fats, and I urge you to go back and review that session. Mackerel, salmon, anchovies, seeds like flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and also nuts like walnuts have high omega-3 fatty acids, and that's great to add into your diet. Whole grains also, because they're high in nutrients like fiber and vitamin Bs. There are so many benefits in eating whole grains. The fiber in fruits and vegetables and whole grains also help you feel full and also help your digestion and absorb your nutrients a little bit better. Always choose fluids that have no sugar in them. So water is your best friend. And if you don't have access to water, then you can do like a sparkling water or some decaffeinated tea or coffee. That's something that you need to make an educated decision on what to drink if there's no water around you. Healthy food. So a lot of people have issues with processed foods because they're higher in sugar, higher in higher in salt, and then they are highly processed, which means they might have lower fiber and lower nutrients. So you want to stay away from packaged foods like chips or really high sugar processed cereals. Those are usually foods that have no real nutrients in them. A Western diet usually is high in refined sugar and high in red meat. So you want to focus on increasing your leafy greens and increasing your fruits. So try to eat a lot of different colors of the rainbow. Shop around the grocery store and the outer part of the grocery store before you go inside to the aisles. And never shop hungry. So you're always looking for healthy options to add to your diet, okay? And then last week we talked about a low glycemic diet, meaning you want to try to find foods that have higher fiber content and doesn't turn into sugar as quick and doesn't increase your blood sugar, because these help decrease your risk of getting type 2 diabetes and its other complications, as well as decreasing your risk of heart disease and stroke. You'll feel full a little longer, therefore you won't go to the fridge or the pantry as often, and can help you maintain and lose weight. A lot of people go towards chicken soup when they're feeling under the weather. Is there real evidence that really actually show that chicken soup is a real medicine? Well, the answer in clinical trials is no, but there are definitely good things about chicken soup, and I've actually broken it down in the bottom of the slide because it does, appear that you can have this chicken soup and it's a worthwhile remedy to try when you're feeling under the weather. One, because chicken soup is light and easy on the stomach when your appetite isn't great. Okay, and it's also, a nostalgic feeling, and it feels good to drink soup in the winter. And when you're, feeling down, chicken soup can also make you remember those warm moments at home. And it also provides fluids and electrolytes, right? So chicken soup has soup and water, and then electrolytes inside, you know, the carrots and the noodles, as well as the chicken has a lot of potassium and sodium in it, because when you're sick, you might, you know, be throwing up or going to the bathroom with diarrhea, and that can cause dehydration. So chicken soup can prevent dehydration when you have symptoms like a fever, etc. And then traditional chicken soup recipe has a lot of different nutrients that increase the immune system. So such as protein, right, for the chicken. Zinc also has in the chicken, vitamin A from the carrots, vitamin C from the celery and onions. And there are also antioxidants in the onions and herbs. So this is one tasty, soothing food that you can definitely include in your diet when you're not feeling well. And it doesn't need a doctor's prescription, right? You also want to protect your microbiome, right? We talked about this again in a previous session, probiotics and prebiotics and what the microbiome plays in the immune function, because it's super important to take care of your gut flora. There are so many different strains of gut flora that help you absorb nutrients, that also help produce some sort of essential fatty acids, and can also help attack other bad microbiomes that you ingested or breathed in, right? And some of these microbes live in other parts in your body, not just your intestines, but diet rich in plant fiber and plenty of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes support the growth and maintenance of these good bacteria that live in your gut. And it's super important to also be mindful of, you know, eating more probiotics and prebiotics. We talked about that later, and we'll also be cooking with some later too. And they break down fibers also again into shorty chain fatty acids and can stimulate the actual immune cell activities. And even if you have any problems with digestion, eating more fiber can help, because fiber actually turn into prebiotics that feed these microbes. And you want to have a mix of probiotics and prebiotics in your diet to maintain a good colony of bacteria cells. What are probiotic foods? We'd had a whole session about that, but I will remind you what they are. So kefir, it's good. So it's kind of like yogurt, but a different strain of bacteria. Yogurt also with live cultures. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut. Tempeh is a fermented soybean cake. That's really good if you bake it or if you saute it or even like pan sear it. Teas that have are like kombucha, so they have the fermented tea in it. Make sure that it's not killed by pasteurizations. You want live cultures. Kimchi is great if you like spicy. You can add it to your fried rice. And miso, so you can also make miso soup. Or today we're going to make a miso sauce, which is going to be very yummy. Prebiotic foods. So prebiotic foods are what feeds your body and feeds the microbes. So that's why it's called prebiotic. There's actually no bacteria in it, but it helps feed the bacteria to help it grow and proliferate, right? So these are garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, Jerusalem artichokes. Another name of that is sunchoke, Stanley Island greens, bananas, and seaweed. But a general rule is just increase the variety of your vegetables and fruits and beans and whole grains. These all have prebiotic in there, and you can help take care of your microbiome by doing that, okay? And you can prevent deficiencies too, because your microbiome help you absorb nutrients better. Certain populations, so I'm talking about populations with higher risk, like pregnant women or elderly women, cannot eat a variety of nutrition foods. Not just women, men also too. I mean, if you think about it, you don't have good teeth, you can't chew many foods items, and you don't have an appetite. So people with cancer may have a decreased immune system because they have a lower appetite and they don't have enough nutrients to increase their immune system. In this case, a multivitamin supplement may help fill these gaps. So you want to talk to your doctor about which multivitamins and take and how much, because there's so many brands out there. You want to be informed, right? And we want to take care of the critically ill and groups that are higher risk. So talking about supplements, so there are a lot of different brands out there, and even a deficiency of a single nutrient. So I'm not usually a fan of providing herbal supplements or multivitamins as a recommendation, but if you are showing symptoms of deficiency, or if you had a blood test that shows you have deficiency, a multivitamin can help boost your immune response, because even a single nutrient deficiency can alter your body's immune system, right? And it works in several ways. It can be an antioxidant, so vitamin E and C has antioxidant abilities to protect your healthy cells and protect and help grow your immune cells to produce antibodies that help you fight off other substances and also pathogens, right? So those are also important because people who are malnourished have greater risk of getting infections, okay? But when you buy a supplement, you always want to be more informed and educated about the brand, and that is important because the FDA does not approve the safetiness and effectiveness of these supplements, and sometimes it is listed on the label but may not actually be in the bottle. So you can go into the National Medicines Comprehensive Database to see if the claims are true or not. And also, it is recommended for a multivitamin supplement. So you also want to talk about this with your doctor to see if all brands are safe for you, because everyone has different responses and different illnesses or diseases that they need to be mindful of when they take a supplement. Sometimes people recommend a Megadose, which is so many times your recommended dietary allowance, but there are no studies that actually justify that super high doses of supplements are good for you and can sometimes be harmful or even suppress your immune system. That has been shown with higher doses in zinc. Supplements don't actually contain all the benefits of a balanced diet, because it shouldn't be considered a substitute for the benefits of healthy foods. So you always want to use it just as a supplement, and you always want to emphasize a balanced diet of healthy fruits and vegetables. That's the more important message to take away here. I do want to go into some herbals, because there are so many different ones out there that say that they increase your immune system, such as echinacea. I've been doing a lot of research in echinacea. And, you know, my parents have been recommending echinacea since I was a little girl. And I was like, oh, is this really something that's proven? Well, they have done cell studies, which are not human studies, of echinacea. And it actually does show some evidence that it destroys the flu virus. But there are so many cell studies, but not enough human studies to be conclusive of the effects, okay? So you want to be mindful. There may still be a chance of you catching a cold, even if you take echinacea. Garlic is also something that has been proposed to have antiviral and antimicrobial effects on the common cold. But the studies have shown, and this is a large clinical trial with 146 participants, and the placebo versus the non-placebo group has not really been shown to have a shorter duration of the illness. But garlic is very flavorful, so you also want to include that into your diet, because it is also a prebiotic, okay? Tea, green tea has been shown in cell studies, again, not human studies, to prevent the flu and some common viruses, because it increases the immune activities. but also human trials are limited. And you can definitely rely on green tea as being a good source of antioxidants. That's been shown to have some good protective effects, but human studies have just not been conclusive because the capsules did not produce too much evidence that can help. So these are some of my research, but we want to kind of concentrate on what's happening now in the world because COVID-19 is very prominent, and we want to make sure that we're mindful when we're going outside. Make sure you wear a mask, clean your hands, don't touch your face, wash your hands again if you forget that you've done it already, and carry around a hand sanitizer because you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting others. And I want to emphasize that the elderly population are at the highest risk because their immune response have already declined because the quality of their immune cells are not so great. And there are poor outcomes of if the elderly develop chronic or acute diseases. And it's been shown that most 1/3 of the elderly population in the Western countries or industrial countries have some sort of nutrition deficiencies that also increases their risk of infections. Because they have a poor appetite due to chronic disease, they might have depression or loneliness. They're taking multiple medications and can interfere with some absorption of other nutrients. And they also may have not good absorption in their intestine because of some intestinal issues. And they might have increased of a metabolic state because of their chronic or acute conditions. This leads to a variety of their diets because they might have limited variety because of budget constraints. They don't have interest in cooking because they live by themselves. They're poor dentition, so they might not have all their teeth, or their dentures don't fit, or they are painful. And they also might have mental impairment like dementia or Alzheimer's. And then lack of transportation and community resource to buy food. And these are important to know of the elderly population. Physical activity. So I am very avid, supporter of increasing physical activity in your daily life. Put it in your calendar, block off a few time slots in your week to just go for a walk, take up some yoga classes or even a slow meditation class because you're exercising your brain, but even some gardening and cleaning of the house is something that you can consider physical activity because you're moving your body. You want to keep your lean body mass intact, therefore you decrease your chances of getting osteoporosis because if you have a good lean body mass, your bone density will stay strong. And you want to also keep your muscles intact because that protects against obesity, as well as promote insulin sensitivity. Therefore, you won't increase your chances of getting diabetes. And muscles promote circulation. Circulation is so important, bringing nutrients and oxygen to your body and also helping it eliminate waste. Exercise helps you manage your stress. It's so important nowadays because a lot of people are under high stress and can prevent a lot of chronic diseases, especially as we age. Choosing your health is super important. If you're smoking, there are so many support systems out there to help you quit. Go talk to your pharmacist. That might be the help that you need, or there are support groups that you can find in your neighborhood or online. Talk to your doctor or nurse about it. Increasing physical activity, we talked about that. Maintaining a healthy weight. If you're overweight or obese, you want to see what help there is out there. BC dietitians can help you. Follow a healthy diet. We talked about stocking up on healthier foods such as whole grains, whole foods, vegetables, and foods that have higher fiber, okay? And staying hydrated, super important because a lot of times in the winter, the heat is on and actually dehydrates the skin and you might feel tired and dry. So drinking water is really important in this time, and also reducing stress. So as I said, taking a yoga class, meditation, gardening, spending some time in the nature, and even cleaning your house, okay? And now it's a good time to go to your local pharmacist to get your flu shot. And the elderly population might consider a pneumonia shot, and talk to your pharmacist and doctor about it, and they can provide you with a lot of insight about why it is important for your health, okay? And lastly, but not, you know, something that I really am trying to promote here is health is not just one thing. So it's not just one pill, one food, and one nutrient, one lab result, or one type of exercise. It is about balancing your overall health, being mindful, exercising when you can, and choosing the right foods for you that help you feel good, and Googling different types of recipes that you can make at home, or watching me with my cooking demo in a few minutes. Your overall lifestyle is what makes the biggest difference to your health. And also read your labels when you're buying a packaged food item. Something labeled low fat might not be exactly healthy. You turn the bag over, read all the nutrients and ingredients, because it can also be high in sugar and sodium. Consult your doctor. Prevention is always the key. So HealthLink BC is here to help you. You can pick up the phone, call 811 and ask to speak to a physician or a dietitian or a nurse, as well as BC Dietitians, bcdietitians.ca. We can help you link up to a dietitian that's nearby to where you live, or even talk on the phone with you, or have a Skype or a Zoom call. Okay, all right. That's it, and we're gonna go back to my kitchen, and we are going to cook up some yummy, yummy food. So what do we do today? I'm just gonna make sure that I have all my equipment set up and you can see everything that I am making. Okay. So what I have set up today is I'm actually going to share with you 2 recipes, and they're usually very easy to make if you have the ingredients, but you can also substitute a lot of the ingredients also. So we've got a bunch of spoons so we can get all the ingredients out. So what I'm going to do really quickly is to actually roast some garlic, and you just need to get a head of garlic like this, and you can line a sheet tray with parchment paper. So I don't need this whole piece of parchment paper. I just need about half of it, and then we can also reuse it. And what I'm going to do is I'm cutting this guy in the top part of it off, and we're gonna roast it with a little bit of olive oil and salt. So I'm just gonna cut off the top, if you guys can see. Okay, so we're gonna expose this whole bulb, and you don't need to peel it or anything. Just lay it on top of the tray, drizzle on some olive oil or grapeseed oil, and you can sprinkle some pepper on it. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of cracked pepper, and if you like, also a little bit of salt. So I'm talking about a small pinch to help the liquids come out of the garlic. And we're just going to put the whole bowl inside. Last week I forgot to check which setting we're on. We're at about 375 at a baking option, and we're going to set it to about 20 minutes. Okay, and once the garlic is nice and brown and it gets really nice and moist, and you can put it and mash it up, and we're going to put it in our miso and oat milk sauce for our bean curd wrap. So today I'm going to show you something new and interesting, which is something that I always use in my home for any wraps, because my partner, he has celiac disease and he can't eat a lot of gluten and a lot of things with flour. So this is a soybean wrap, and I'm going to tell you what it is exactly. So this is a very nice piece of soy milk that has been dried, and you can buy these in your local Asian grocery store. And it's literally just soybeans, water, and a little bit of oil. So what I want to do is, this dries out pretty quickly, so I want to work pretty quickly. So I have some mushrooms here. So these are enoki mushrooms. There is a bottom stem over here, and the easiest way is to cut off the bottom of the wrapper, and you can keep these in water, and actually it will grow, which is really exciting. So I have a little small container here, and I'm just going to put the bottom in my container, and we're adding a little bit of water here, and you want to put it in a dark area in your house and it will grow. So I have some enoki mushrooms. These are really little and really fun because they're like already julienned mushrooms, and you don't have to do too much to it, and they're super clean, so you don't even have to rinse them because mushrooms have to be grown in like a pretty clean environment. I also have some pepper. This is a really nice orange pepper. We also don't need the whole thing. I'm just going to cut a little bit into strips. Okay. And then my next vegetable is an eggplant. Also, I don't need the whole eggplant. I'm just going to cut half of it also into strips. And if you have extra leftover chicken, you can also shred it, or turkey. You can shred that also, or even just cut up strips of firm tofu. That can also be incorporated in this wrap. And even carrots to make it even crunchier, right? There are so many fillings that you can do for this wrap that is going to be very exciting. So I actually don't, well, I'm going to use it all because I already cut it. Okay, so we want to have similar sizes in vegetable strips, and in a saute pan, I'm going to warm up a little bit of grapeseed oil, and we're going to put the veggies to par cook them a little bit, so then they become a little bit more malleable for me to add into my wrapper. So this wrapper, you also want to work a little bit faster, but if you know that you need a little bit of time, you can always brush it with a little bit of water. So I have a little bit of water here, and if I know the vegetables need a little bit of time, I just got my pastry brush, and I'm going to brush the top with a little bit of moisture. You can also use some oil too, but water is sufficient enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this guy in half. See, this is a big piece of soybean wrap. Which makes my life a lot easier if it's cut into twos. And I can hear my vegetables sizzling, so you can see that it's nicely cooking. Palms. And we're just going to toss it around a little bit. You don't really need any seasoning in here because we're going to make a dipping sauce for this wrap. It doesn't take that long to par cook these. We're not cooking them fully because we're wrapping them, and then we're also putting them either in the oven or pan searing them if you like it even extra crispier. Okay, so we're waiting for the vegetables to finish cooking. What I'm going to do is, in the meantime, fix up a little bit of dessert. So I have like a nice bowl over here, and we talked about yogurt as being a great probiotic. So I have some coconut yogurt here. And we're going to put a dollop of yogurt in here. And we also talked about how green tea is very high in antioxidants and can help protect our immune system. So I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of green tea powder or matcha powder, which I have here. You can buy any type of green tea powder on one side. So just about a teaspoon of that. You're going to make a nice little yogurt bowl with the green tea powder. I also have some chia seeds right here. I don't have that much left. I'm going to put all the chia seeds, about 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. Again, I'm going to sprinkle it on one side of my yogurt bowl. And then I have some homemade applesauce. So this is actually applesauce. I didn't peel the apples. I use organic apples. Or you wash the apples really, really well. And you just cook the apples down with a little cinnamon. Don't have any sugar. And it forms a very nice applesauce because it turns pink because of the outside of the apple skin. And also the cinnamon in here helps it, and that gets nice and flavorful too. So I'm going to add that a little bit onto my yogurt bowl. About 2 tablespoons of that, which is super yum already. And then a handful of the granola that I make, which is made with no sugar, gluten-free, as well as nut-free. So we got all the I just need to open it. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the heat. I just need scissors to open my granola. It's not open yet. There we go. And then just a great handful of that. And if you like fruits, since it's apple season, I have some nice apple that I'm going to cut up on top of my yogurt bowl with my green tea, chia seeds, yogurt, and granola. And I'm going to put it nicely around the bowl and make a nice dessert for myself later. So in the meantime, the vegetables are nicely cooked, and we can use this, guys, on our wraps. So check out our wraps. I've added a little bit of water on each soybean wrap. And you can use these as wrappers for our mixed vegetables. So I'm going to put a little bit of the vegetables on each wrap. Without any salt or pepper, the vegetables already smell great. I'm going to make a really quick dipping sauce, or a sauce that you can drizzle over top of the crispy soybean wrap, which will make it really yummy and exciting. Okay, so there are 2 wrappers here, and we're gonna literally just roll it up like a sushi roll. And these are quite strong, so you can pull it a little bit towards you and keep rolling. Rolling, rolling. And these are already ready to cook. But if you don't want the contents inside to fall out, you can always put a few toothpicks and thread it through so it won't come out when you are cooking them. Okay, just like that. And we're going to roll the second wrapper. And right now, again, and we're going to put it back onto the frying pan, and we're going to pan sear it. So if you don't want to pan sear it because there's a little bit of more oil involved, you can stick this in the toaster oven also. Okay, let me just do this. I'm going to turn it on and put a little bit more oil on the pan. There's about a tablespoon of oil in here. The pan's already hot, and we're going to stick these wrappers on top of the pan, and we're going to sear both sides until they get golden brown. Now we can make a dipping sauce for the top of this wrapper. So I'm just going to get another mixing bowl, with a little small bowl, because this is not a big dipping sauce. Okay, and I have some miso paste, which is a fermented soybean paste. They come in different colors. I usually get something that's lower in sodium because they use a little bit less salt. And you don't need to use any salt because the soybean is already quite salty. When they ferment it, they add salt into it. Soybean cultures are really good as a probiotic, so you want to help it out by spearing it out a little bit. And I'm going to add some oat milk to this, so if you want to, you can drizzle enough milk, or you can just use a liquid of any sort, like a chicken stock or vegetable stock. I can hear the bean curd wrap, and I'm going to check on my garlic. Ooh, it looks really good already. I think it needs 2 more minutes. I can smell nice roasted garlic in my house, and it always is a really nice smell. Okay, so I'm going to finish mixing this up. And in the meantime, I'm going to get a nice serving plate for my bean curd wraps, because they're almost done. Just waiting for the sauce. This sauce, I'm going to add a little bit of pepper in to make it nice and peppery. About half a teaspoon of pepper. And all we're waiting for is the roasted garlic. So I'm going to bring you guys a little bit closer to my pan, and I want to show you how beautiful the bean curd wraps look right now. Okay, so you want to use your tongs to flip them. See how beautiful this guy got after I flip them, and they're almost done. So you want to make sure that the bottom side has a similar golden brown color, and then you can take them off the pan and we can cut them into smaller bits and drizzle the sauce on it. Okay, so now our garlic is done. I can hear that the toaster oven is finished cooking. I'm going to get a hot mitt to take the garlic out. I'm going to show you how beautiful this roasted garlic looks. And we are super excited to use the garlic. So usually you can just squeeze the bulb and it'll come out, but it's really hot right now, so I'm just going to use a pair of chopsticks to help me bring it out. So I can hear the base of the spring roll, this bean curd spring roll. So I'm going to just turn off the heat, and it comes off really easily. So I'm going to put on a few cloves, and the rest you can actually use to make a nice dipping sauce or a spread for toast. It's a great crowd pleaser if you have any gatherings as an antipasti. But a roasted garlic is great on some crackers or toast. Okay, so once the garlic is roasted, it actually becomes quite soft, and I'm just going to mash it into my miso paste. And the garlic just mushes into the sauce. Okay. Okay, so once the garlic mushes into the sauce, we can take the spring rolls, the bean curd rolls out of the pan. And I'm going to put this sauce in the pan for about a minute to heat it up. And we can pour it over the bean curd wrap. So this is what I'm doing. I'm flipping it over just to make sure it's also nice and golden brown on both sides, and we're ready to serve this. So you can hear the nice crispiness of the bean curd wrap. I'm looking for my knife, and you can cut off or just take off the toothpicks, because the ends are one of the best crispy ends to this guy. And we're just going to cut them into smaller bits and easier to eat with your fork. Now we're going to serve it up. And this is super yummy. It's got protein in it because of the soy milk. And it's got a mix of vegetables in here. You can also add your favorite mix of vegetables, and it gets really nice and crispy. And then the dipping sauce you can also cook up really quickly in the pan right here. I'm just going to bring it to a boil. You can use the same dipping sauce bowl. And after it comes to a boil, you can pour it into the bowl, and this can be your dipping sauce for the bean curd sheets, or bean curd spring rolls that we've made today. We're going to finish our dessert also with some apple. So I'm going to turn this over, cut it up into smaller slices. And we're going to dress our yogurt bowl with the apple slices, and this can be breakfast or dessert. And the sauce is hot. So now we can pour it into our bowl. And can have lunch. So I'm going to share this with my partner. We have the bean curd wraps with the miso and roasted garlic dipping sauce and a nice dessert. So I am going to leave you guys here. I'll see you guys next week on Digga Tuesdays at noon, and that next week will be a live session. Make sure you sign up and get the Zoom link, and you can ask me any questions during the session. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.